Well, welcome to Cavuto Coast to Coast. Good to see you. I'm David Asman in for Neil Cavuto. Big tech is, we just heard from Ash, selling off for a third straight session, way down. The Dow and S&P 500 also sinking after their worst week since June. But of course, it's the NASDAQ everybody's watching, plunging again after its worst week since March. To Fox News contributor Jonathan Hoenig and Agora financial market strategist Alan Nuckman. Gentlemen, great to see you. Alan, let me go to you first. The pullback it's not a great surprise. That's no secret. Everybody saw these high levels and wondered when it was going to sort of correct itself. Is this just a correction, or is there something else more insidious involved?
I wouldn't even use the C word. I would just say it's profit-taking pullback. That's all this is. Let's remember, the NASDAQ, the top 100 NDX, were up 75% straight up off their lows. And even after this pullback, we're down 10% off the highs. They're still up 66%. And looking at the S&P right now, as it stands right now, is 50% off that March bottom. So the end is not near. This is just a profit-taking pullback. The same situation is in place. Let's see how things react. And even with today, we're only down 3% in tech. That's not much at all.
Yeah.
But what I do like to see here is the VIX. The VIX has a lower high today than it had on Friday, even though the S&P had a lower low. So that's very much a positive.
Well, Jonathan, what do you think? The end is not here. This is just a pullback. We could be way up again momentarily after the pullback is finished. What do you think?
Put me in the bearer camp, David. Look, I'm looking at the breadth of the market. Today you've got about 80 new 20-day lows, and only 82 20-day highs and 1,000 new 20-day lows. So the pendulum, if you will, has really swung the momentum to the bear side. And look, it's been risk on for months. We're due for some risk off time, and I'm not one who buys the dips, David, because as our guest alluded to, you never know if a dip is just the dip or beginning of a longer-term move. I think there's still a lot of bulls out there. There's still a lot of call buying, for example, out there, speculation out there. And I think, in a sense, the next 1,000-point move for the Dow is lower rather than higher.
All right. Well, Alan, one thing long-term that I've talked to investors about that they are concerned with are these lockdowns, these continued lockdowns in cities like New York, even though New York, by the way, has a virus rate.
1%.
Yeah, it's been less than 1% for 4 weeks now. It's met all its goals, but it is still locked down. And I'm wondering if the market has factored this in because it doesn't seem as though it has, even with the current pullback.
I'm nothing but a price guy, and this price pullback was warranted. It needed to be done. Markets have to pull back before they can go higher. Again, I'm still very much positive. If you haven't been long, you've been completely wrong. I don't think things have changed that quickly. Keep an eye on the dollar index. I think another test of those lows on the dollar index could be very positive for stocks, bringing the risk on back into the game. But I would think this is just temporary. Again, we made all-time highs over and over and over again. And last week was a holiday week. That's when things get thin. That's when the market can get nudged and pushed a little bit more than usual. So let's see as people come back and the volumes pick up. Jonathan is right as far as the breadth goes, but the breadth has only been in a handful of stocks for most of this move. So you've got to be a stock trader, not an index follower, because you have to find those opportunities.
I'm going to ask the producers to put that 6th Avenue shot back on the screen, on the left-hand side of the screen, because, Jonathan, I've lived in New York for 40 years. This is the first Tuesday after Labor Day that I've ever seen streets as empty. Look at people crossing there without even looking up and down the street. I mean, this is 6th Avenue in Manhattan. This is the heart of New York. The city that supposedly never sleeps has been asleep for a long time now, and the question is, will it ever wake up? What do you think of these lockdowns? I know you're a technical guy. Talk outside of your lane for a second. What do you think of these lockdowns?
Oh, David, there's no question. I mean, New York and other big cities, metropolitan areas are going to be changed for years. Even, God willing, when we do get a virus, we do get an answer to the actual... a vaccine to the virus. So we do get a vaccine. So there's some long-standing economic ramifications of these viruses, David. And keep in mind, that's what caused the downturn in the stock market and the economy. It wasn't so much the virus. It was the lockdowns, those mandatory lockdowns.
Exactly.
So the effect on populations like New York City and the businesses herein is going to be take years and years to unravel without question.
Alan, I think you're in Chicago, which is where Jonathan's from. Talk about Chicago. Are you seeing the same thing there that we see here in New York?
Well, interestingly enough, Jonathan and I live in the same building in the heart of the financial district in Chicago.
I didn't know that.
I'm at my beach house in Michigan, so
Okay.
sometimes I kind of sneak out and get to where it's a little bit calmer and safer. But yeah, you're right. The streets are empty, and it's really weird that energy's not there. But that doesn't mean that the stock market can't continue to go higher and higher and higher.
All right, let's leave on the good news. Not to diminish your views, Jonathan, but it's nice to leave on an up note. Good to see you both, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Well, 56 days until the election. President Trump taking his message on the road today. He's set to tout the economic recovery in Florida, then North Carolina. Later today, both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris visiting the battleground state of Wisconsin in recent days. Joe Biden, meanwhile, is holding a virtual event